And hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Stuart, and as you can hear, all by myself, no Josh this time. Work commitments have got in the way, so he's unable to attend this review, so it'll just be myself talking about AEW Full Gear, the last AEW pay-per-view of the year. Obviously, it had so many matches I was looking forward to, but three I was really looking forward to the most. Obviously, CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston, we had Bryan Danielson versus Miro, and obviously the main event we've been waiting basically 2 years to finally manifest itself is Kenny Omega versus Adam Page for the AEW World Championship. Obviously, if you like what you hear, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also find us on Spotify, you can on iTunes and on Anchor. So enough of me rambling. Let's get stuck into talking about AEW Full Gear. Hit the music.
At last, you're on your own.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
Yes! You just made the list!
Brock Lesnar.
So yeah, let's talk about AEW Full Gear 2021, a show that I really love. I mean, it was such a good show. I mean, obviously coming off the back of All Out, with how groundbreakingly awesome that was. It seems like there was a high bar for AEW, but my God, I think that's two great shows in a row now they've done. They've got this great momentum that I really am enjoying. I think all the big matches that I said in the opening delivered. I mean, CM Punk, Eddie Kingston, amazing match. I mean, 10 minutes, but it was so satisfying. Obviously, Danny Bryan Miro was also very good in its own different way, a bit longer. I mean, obviously it was kind of a shoehorned in kind of feud, but it still worked as a matchup. And obviously the main event, everything that you would expect for a match like that. We've been waiting so long, and it was so satisfying that Adam Page finally won the big one after nearly 2 years of struggle. Long-term storytelling at its best. I loved it. I think it was a bit bloated, and it did feel a bit like at times when I think it was like maybe the women's match. The women's world title match, or maybe the Pac and Cody tag team match kind of felt like, okay, why is this here? But yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic show. I mean, these are the kind of shows that remind me why I watch AEW more than I do WWE these days. So this is the wrestling I like. It builds up storylines, not the best sometimes, but they deliver on the big matches that they deliver, and that's what you want for your pro wrestling matches. Might sound like an AEW fanboy at the moment, but they're knocking it out of the park at the moment, so you got to give them credit where credit's due. So that's my kind of initial thoughts on the show. So yeah, let's dive straight into talking about each match on the card. I mean, it's 10 matches, a lot to talk about. So, but before we get onto the main show, let's talk about the buy-in. Obviously, that was a tag team match between Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa going against Jamie Hayter and Nyla Rose. I think I pronounced that correctly. I think this kind of was like a prelude to their I think they're both in the quarterfinal matches of the TBS Championship tournaments that they're doing for that new, basically TV title they're going to be putting on for when they move TBS, I think, started next year, I think. So, but yeah, I mean, I heard that obviously Hikaru Shida pinned Nyla Rose, so I think that's going to set up kind of like so you can beat her, so that could be a nice match. I think that's on Dynamite this week, so it should be good. But yeah, I mean, that was they put that on the show, it makes sense. It would have felt a bit off being on the main show, and shows the women, so awesome stuff there. Also, we had other stuff like, I think the main one that really intrigued me was the idea that we're going to have Hikaru Ishii is going to be teaming up with Orange Cassidy going against Butcher and the Blade. Obviously, if you've been watching AEW, you know that Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends are now part of Chaos. Okada has made them join, or asked them to join the team. That's exciting and has so many interesting opportunities, so I can't actually wait to see where that goes. So that'd be an interesting thing, but it's kind of what they were doing. I mean, it was kind of the buy-in. I don't really watch the buy-in because I said, as it's saying when I don't watch the kickoff show with WWE, it's not really my thing. I don't need to because I'm already invested. I'm gonna watch it, so there's no need to try and convince me. I'm watching your shit product, so don't try it. It's fine. But so let's go and talk about obviously the match to start the show, in a match that shocked everyone. We are obviously talking about Darby Allin versus MJF in a feud that has basically been put together by basically MJF running his mouth And talking about Darby Allin's kind of car accident with his uncle, the reason why he wears the face paint on, like, why he's dead half of his side of his body. But yeah, I mean, MJF is very good at making you hate him. He's a perfect heel. As Darby Allin, he's a very sympathetic character. So I didn't know what to expect with this one, purely for the fact that it was going to be one of those matches that MJF is kind of like, I sometimes feel that his in-ring ability is very good, but I think his character work is way better. But this match proved me wrong, because my God, what an opener this was. I mean, good God, it was just like, it shows these guys know each other so well. I don't because it's some of the early counters of kind of like back-to-back counters. Technical fair it was at the beginning, which is just amazing. It's like so fluent, so good. So yeah, I mean, obviously that kind of stuff started off. Obviously, also the story is MJF said he was going to beat Darby Allin with a headlock because he's Darby Allin. MJF is in Darby Allin's head. I think I pronounced that right. So he's like, he could beat him, wang wings around him. But that's obviously not what happened in the sense of what happened in the match. But yeah, that's pretty much story going as well. Obviously, a technical fair, awesome stuff there. We obviously it started to get interesting when obviously Darby Allin tries to do a coffin drop from the top on the outside of the apron, because obviously MJF was there, but MJF moved out the way. So obviously another one of them very awkward landings by Darby Allin, where he's back on the apron that would hurt. I mean, good God, stop it, man. Stop doing this stuff. So after this match, after that bit, it was like obviously MJF's working on the back. We did have some cool bit where he done a very awesome backbreaker. But obviously, nice little tidbit there. We had a thing where he, while doing that, he hurt his knee. So, and he really sold it very nicely. When every time he hit it, he really sold it. Very good there. We obviously, after that, obviously, we had back and forth from them. We got a really cool, was it like a top rope stunner from the top rope? That was really cool. We got another coffin job attempt, but MJF just keeps moving out the way. He hit a really cool, powerbomb knee backbreaker, kind of like we'd done a powerbomb onto the knee. Really cool stuff there. But then we obviously got MJF keep hitting Darby Allin. But, Darby Allin kept getting up. This is what is his whole story. You can beat the crap out of him so much, the guy Stu keeps getting up. We had a cool little back and forth that we had Darby Allin trying to go for a cold red, but MJF countered into a powerbomb. Trust me, check it out. It's an awesome move. We had MJF locking in a sharpshooter or Scorpion Deathlock, trying to be an insult to Sting, obviously because I think they attacked a couple weeks ago as well. So it depends how you look at it. We had a bit with, but yeah, the whole match was basically Darby Allin had an injury back. MJF had a bad knee, so what one was gonna come out first? What was Phoenix gonna help the other person win? We got a very uncomfortable tombstone power driver on the apron by MJF on Darby Allin again, but again with the knee, he sold it very well that he probably shouldn't have done that. We got a nice pin attempt where they all kept doing pin after pin after pin, and it was funny bit when they're going round and round and round and round the ring. Check it out, it's funny. It's funny as hell. It's really funny. Obviously, then we got a reversal of the spot we got last time with MJF trying to do a powerbomb that Darby Allin countered into a cold red. Awesome move. It's again, these guys know it's over too well. But yeah, we obviously got a bit where Darby Allin did hit the coffin drop on the outside. Then he went in, brought MJF into it to try and hit it on the inside. But MJF put the knees up. But yeah, then we get to the end of the match where basically MJF went to the outside, grabbed Darby Allin's skateboard and basically folded it to him, trying to goat him to try and hit him with it. Obviously, Darby Allin, as the face, wouldn't do that, so the ref took the skateboard out. But why she was doing this, obviously, was MJF. Got his was it ring? Was it the diamond ring? Yes, again, put it on, whack, slap bang in the face of Darby Allin. He's out cold. And then obviously just to make insult to injury, we obviously got MJF doing a headlock takeover kind of pin attempt to get the free. So he gets the win in a 22-minute match. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those matches that's like, yeah, you would think Darby Allin would win, but MJF is such a very crafty heel that we're all sitting there going, great, we've got to sit here for another couple of months talking about how he done exactly what he said he would do. He cheated as hell, but that's why MJF's so good. And Darby Allin, these are one of these matches that are a perfect example of you can lose but still look great. And these two knocked out the park. I mean, come on, opening match. I wasn't expecting much for this match, but I think we all were like, holy crap. I can see why they put this match first. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting finish. It probably wouldn't surprise me if this feud's not over yet. Obviously, we all know MJF's kind of positioned for that person's going to take that title off. Sorry, spoilers, Adam Page. So we're going to be interesting to see where that goes. But yeah, MJF, great. Darby Allin, great. Great opener. What can I say than awesome stuff? I cannot wait to see where this goes. But yeah, so MJF gets the win, and yeah, it's got some more to gloat about. That's never good when MJF has more to gloat about. So next we talk about the AEW World Tag Team Championship match with the Lucha Brothers going against FTR in a match that kind of was set up by, I don't know, it's very strange how this is all set up. It's kind of FTR's going after Lucha Brothers because they want the tag team titles back, but also because they're getting paid off by Andrade to kind of mess with Pac. It's a very strange storyline, and they're kind of like hired guns for like Andrade and all that kind of stuff. So it's a cool stuff when you think about it. But when you think about it, it's been a year since FTR lost the titles to the Young Bucks at Full Gear, so there is a full circle thing going around here. It's taken them nearly a year to get back in the hunt for them championships. But you expect going into this, it was very, very apparent you're going to get a very awesome match. Purely for the fact that it's Lucha Bros, especially Phoenix, Ray Phoenix. It's going to be amazing. You just know it is. But yeah, let's talk about the match in general. Obviously, at the start, it was very big. Was it a big brawl? Because obviously, proper back and forth. Again, a lot of stuff in this match. It's very hard to keep it going. We did get a really cool thing near the beginning where, I think, was it Ray Phoenix monkey flipped Penta into a cannonball on both FTR. That was a kind of perched in the corner, very strangely like perched, but yeah. So yeah, that was a really cool move. We also got this weird submission thing where I think it was like both of FTR was there, where I think it was like one had a crossface, another had an octopus lock. I'll probably put the picture up on YouTube, but yeah, it's hard to explain, but really good. So we had some cool stuff there. FTR did start to get back into it. We had a bit where FTR had done a team stun gun, but was it Ray Phoenix got to the rope for 2? We did a bit where FTR tried to tie Penta's mask to the bottom rope, and then obviously get some stomps on him. Very sneaky, very smart tactics by the heel team, obviously FTR. Obviously we got a nice the old ref didn't see it thing that you don't see as much. Well, not as much as as you used to back in the Attitude Era. A lot of times they did that, a lot. Obviously the bit where obviously the tag, obviously was it Penta got into the match, but obviously the ref did not see it, so it was not a tag. So, but Ray Phoenix did get into the ring eventually. It was basically what you expect, on fire. Needed him to do like a running kick on the ropes for 2. Again, Ray Phoenix is amazing. But then we got a cool thing where Harwood got caught Phoenix, and then Penta kicked Harwood off the apron. And when Phoenix went for the cover, Howard kicked him into Wheeler, who had the AAA championship in hand, so he basically went headfirst into the title. Very similar to how they won the AAA championships, but obviously that was not after he did that. He obviously hit a nice brainbuster, Howard, but that was not enough. Could have easily ended the match, it did, but it didn't. So great near fall there, awesome stuff. Obviously, then we got obviously Tony Blanchard getting involved, no surprise, grabs the leg in front of the ref. But how he was able to capitalise and punch him in the face. Obviously, as I have to point out, obviously this was the anniversary of the sad passing of Eddie Guerrero on the timing of the show. God, I mean, we miss you, Eddie. And there was, throughout the show, there was a lot, and I mean a lot of like homages to his Three Amigos, the Frog Splash, giving a bit of Latino heat type stuff. So, and this was no different. We had Harwood doing a bit of a Eddie Guerrero shake, hitting the 2 Three Amigos. But Penta had none of that. Hit 3 of his own, and then we had Phoenix come into the match and hit a frog splash from the top. As you expect, great height, great spot, awesome stuff. We got a really cool spike. Both FTR hitting a spike power drive on Phoenix for 2. We had this weird thing where was it the Lucha Brothers, where I think it was like Penta had that power driver he has, and then we had Phoenix jump over him to hit the other member of FTR, and then he hit the power driver. But trust me, again, I can't describe it any better than just it's what you expect. It was crazy, but the end of the match when the match was basically that Cash wielder put the mask on to try and use the old twin magic type stuff, so the ref doesn't know who's who. Just like they tried to do when they were trying to be how they won the AAA championships. So obviously Cash Wilder, who was not the legal man, who actually was the legal, was it? Even I'm confused by this whole thing. So I think Wilder put the mask on because I think Cash Harwood was the legal man. So we had that, obviously, but it was obvious it was Wilder, but again, for the story, makes sense. Using the old switcheroo and then trying to put his foot on the ropes to try and get a cheat win, but the ref saw it. Gotta love the ref sometimes, actually, that's right, smart. Then you got, Lucha Brothers came in, hit and assisted DDT and Wilder for the pinfall, and and got the win. And it's still your AEW World Tag Team Champions. But no surprise that, again, it was a weird thing about the ending. It was very flat. Very flat. It felt like all the cool spots they had in this match, there was so many of them that they could have ended the match with, and they went for this kind of one. It felt a bit like you can put too much into a match, and that's what this one felt like. It's still action-packed. It's what you expect from these. It's pretty similar to what FTR have been doing against people like Young Bucks, pretty similar in that style, but that was a bit better last year. But thoroughly enjoyed this match. Definitely the kind of fast pace that you get, like if you're watching, it's like just to go over the opening match, and then all of a sudden, boom, and this match comes along. It's mental. But I don't expect FTR to win. We gained the tag titles. It was Lucha Brothers, I think, first proper title defense of the titles. So no surprise they didn't win here, but. Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. It was really good, but I do think it was it crammed too much into it, and I feel that if they just toned it down just a little bit, it might have been a more coherent match, end. But the ending was a bit flat, I thought. But yeah, good stuff. FTR probably going to still be involved in that kind of feud because obviously they're still kind of hired guns at the moment, paid off with Andrade, so it wouldn't surprise if they'd be involved against Pac, or there'd be like a bit like a 6-man tag. Wouldn't be surprised that's coming up. It might already be coming up, I don't know. But yeah, so awesome match. So first 2 matches of the card, damn. I'm out of breath talking about it already, and I'm only 2 matches in. Well, I've got some problems if I'm out of breath already. But yeah, awesome match. Yeah, look, I hope these guys go again. I hope so, because they really are very good. So now we get into a match that in some ways has kind of been put together purely for circumstances that are out of their control. Obviously, we're talking about the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament Final. Wow, that was a mouthful. With Bryan Danielson, I've still got to get used to that, facing off against Miro. That I think the way the brackets were put together, we all know it probably was going to be Jon Moxley. But obviously, as we heard the news, I think 2 weeks ago, with him going into rehab for his alcoholism. Hope he gets well soon. Obviously, that sucks. It's crap. It's a horrible addiction. Hope he gets well soon. So, with obviously casting in the semi-finals, Miro took his place and beat him very comfortably in a very good match. And, booked his place. But take away from that, still looking forward to it, because obviously Miro has been, ever since they've finally figured out what his story is, where he's basically like God's favourite champion, and at the moment I feel like because he lost the championship to Sammy Guevara a couple of weeks ago, it feels like his gods abandoned him. That's interesting analogy, and a lot of stuff with to please her. Wouldn't surprise you if that's Lana, or that's a tease that she's going to come in and kind of make him win again, That might be the story, but it's not what the story is here, I don't think. So, but yeah, the story was kind of that. And obviously Bryan Danielson's been absolutely killing it. I think he's had that match against Eddie Kingston was outstanding. I don't think I've seen him have a bad match yet. He's been up ever since he's joined. He's been absolutely amazing. It's a Danny Bryan that I don't think I've ever seen, really, because I never watched the old indie stuff, so I don't know. I saw bits of it in WWE, but this is like I get why everyone's like, oh my god, Bryan Danielson's awesome. It's like, yeah, he is. And this match totally proves his kind of versatility, but obviously I think he's had better matches. But this is still a very, very, very good match. So this match was kind of more of a Miro kind of using his power versus kind of Bryan Danielson. Got to keep remembering it every time. Using his technique and his skill to try and outwit the power of Miro. But mostly Miro was in control early on this. A lot of stuff there, trying to show his power. We had kind of picked up when, was it, Danielson done a suicide dive on the outside. But Emil hit him with a strike in the head and then hit a belly-to-belly suplex on the floor. Beautiful stuff. It was all Miro. Then we get back into the ring, and then we got Bryan going for a shotgun missile drop kick off the top rope, but then Miro caught him. But then Bryan was managed to counter into a very nicely knee bar submission. I should mention that obviously Miro had like a bandage around his leg. I can't remember left or right, but I put it on my notes here, wrong leg. He should have focused on the leg that was injured, not the one that, the other leg. But maybe that was just the plan. I don't know. It's a little nitpick from myself there. Then we obviously, Miro nearly tapped out from this, but Matt Mills managed to get back up and hit a released German suplex. I like the kind of pacing of this match purely for the fact that we had a lot of two fast-paced kind of openers. So it's nice to change the pace where it's just a little bit different, to maybe calm everyone down a little bit after the first two amazing matches at the beginning. Obviously, we had Bryan Danielson trying to go for the famous running knee that's won with so many matches, but Miro caught him and hit a beautiful powerbomb. Very nicely countered there. Obviously, at this point, Miro was pointing up to his god, kind of firing him up, trying to say, this is what you want, right? But near the end, we had Miro trying to lock in the game over. Bryan resisting, but eventually he had no choice. And obviously we had the game over submission by Miro, locked in, quite, really wrenching it back. But Bryan was able to slowly, or managed to crawl to the bottom rope. Obviously then we had Miro stomping on his back and went for the game again. But Bryan was able to counter and get a roll up for a 2. Then Bryan managed to turn Miro over and applied the label lock on his left and right, just locking the label lock. And then, but obviously Miro was able to power out and was able to punch him in the face. Then Bryan applied a triangle choke sleeper, followed by some elbows to the head, but Miro was able to use his eye gouge to break free. Then we got Bryan with some hard kicks to the body, and then we got Miro with some shots and kicks to Bryan's ribs. Well, the funny thing about this bit was basically it's like Miro was like, yeah, hit me. Didn't work. But when Miro hit Danielson, my God, he was knocked out. Love that kind of contrast that, Miro was a stronger, bigger guy than Bryan Danielson. Then we obviously, Bryan and Miro went to the turnbuckle. We had Bryan Danielson managed to hit a avalanche DDT off the top rope. And then Bryan Danielson locked in a tight headlock that Miro really sold. That obviously, at this point, he was knocked out from that DDT from the top. The ref called it. And we got a knockout victory for Bryan Danielson. And that means he is the new number 1 contender for whoever is going to be the AEW World Champion after the main event. I'm going to put this in the title, Adam Page. But, good match. I mean, 20-minute, I won't say clinic, but I did really enjoy it in the sense that it was kind of the kind of slow pace we needed. And it's what I needed, to be fair, after watching the first 2 matches. Just like, can I just watch a match where I'm just watching it and just thinking, oh, okay, let's slow down. Instead of just having to pick up. Because when I write notes, I try and get every single movement. It's really hard to get constant. This match was like, what the technical side of it. I like it in my wrestling. But, I said Bryan Danielson's been brilliant. Miro, again, some people say he could have won. Yeah, but I think they've got a cool story going on with if he keeps losing. So it's going to be until like someone like his god comes to save him or sends someone to save him. I think it's going to be Lana, because I think she's out of a job now. So when she comes in, I think he's going to do a story where when she comes, he starts winning again. Again, that's what I think they're going to do. So it would be an awesome storyline. But yeah, but the thing, because obviously we've got to talk about it. Adam Page winning the world title, it kind of makes us think that like, do we want Bryan Danielson to be his first opponent? But actually, he's the perfect opponent because it's like his first title defense. If you can beat Bryan Danielson, it's been such good form since he's come in. It would just legitimize his title reign. So I get it. So, but yeah, great. No surprise who's going to win here. But great stuff. I loved it. I mean, but Bryan Danielson, it's been absolutely killing it on a tear. But I can't wait for that match against Adam Page. Should be good. And the Miro storyline, yeah. I think they've got something cool going on. I think so anyway. So, but yeah. So, the winner of this year's World Championship Eliminator Tournament is Bryan Danielson and the new number 1 contender for the AEW World Championship. So can't wait for that match. So should be good. So yes, let's get on to the first of, I think, 2 multi-person matchups that they have on this show. Obviously, we got the one later on with the Inner Circle against American Top Team, and obviously, was it the Men of the Year? I have to remember them. Cool song, by the way. But the first one we're going to talk about is the Falls Count Anywhere. We've got Christian Cage and Jurassic Express with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus going against the Superkliq with Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. In a story that's kind of been built up by the idea that ever since Adam Cole basically joined the company, he talked about Jungle Boy, I think in interviews as well. He's been targeting the Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. So, and as obviously now joining the Elite, it's kind of what they've all been targeting. Obviously, but it's getting cool stuff. I've really enjoyed it. But I think this kind of matchup and it's kind of this stuff building up proves that Jungle Boy is as good as he is. And they've really tried to build him up as this next. I think MGF brought it up in a promo like the 4 pillars of AEW. Was it and he said himself, Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy and Darby Allin, and they all came out looking pretty damn great in this pay-per-view. So I can see they're really trying to push that they're the future of the company, because that's what you want in wrestling. You want to build homegrown stars, because they are 4 homegrown stars. If you think about it, they weren't known until AEW made them noticeable. But yeah, this is again the problem with this match. Let's go into the match in general. It's like most Young Buck matches. Is when they go into most matches, it's basically move after move after move that for us, me as a reviewer, it's really hard to really keep in touch with it. But as you expect for Falls Count Anywhere match, this had everything. We had use of chairs, we had trash cans, we had tables, I think we had a ladder at some point. It was amazing, basically. But yeah, we had all that kind of stuff early on. Obviously, we got the first bleed. Obviously, later on in the match, we had obviously Adam Cole was bleeding like a stuffed pig. It was nasty to see. I think after throwing him into the post, I think it was, or something like that. And we had later on in the match, we had obviously not one but 2 attempts to try and do the concerto on Cole or one of the members. Obviously, Christian wanted Jungle Boy to do it on Cole. But obviously he took way too long because he's the good guy. Does he really want to do it? Obviously got saved. The Bucks saved Cole there. We had one of the probably awesomest spots in the match when we had 2 tables that were set up early in the match outside. We had Jungle Boy hitting a kind of a Hurricanrana on Cole through the table. Beautiful. That could have gone wrong in so many ways. Then we got Matt Jackson going to the top here, an elbow drop on Luchasaurus on the table on the other side. Nicely looked. Amazing spots. Means they're out for a bit. So we can pan to what's Christian been up to? Well, he's up in the rafters, having taken out Nick Jackson, fighting on the upper collar area. We had a bit where obviously Christian was it beat up Delicata on Nakazawa a bit. We had the big spot on this was basically they're all fighting on there, and obviously Christian Cage went up to the top, not right to the top of the kind of stand. I can't really describe it, like kind of entranceway of that tier. I can't describe it. And a nice little crossbody on both of them. All 3 of them are eyes. I think it was the other stooge was there as well. But yeah, awesome stuff here. So obviously pans that. Christian's doing some cool stuff there. Then we go back later on where we have Cole went to get like a back into the match, of course, and they go and get a black bag. And what a shocker! More tax. I mean, that's 2 pay-per-views in a row when they keep using tax. I think it's 2 pay as well. Might be. But yes, this time obviously they put them in Jungle Boy's mouth and kind of done that the spot they do where they in the where Adam Cole has got Jungle Boy in position, and you also got the Young Bucks bouncing back and forth. Nice super kick with tacks in their mouth. Must have been horrible. I feel sorry for you, Jungle Boy. And then we had, but then we obviously had Christian make the save at this point. Then Nick Jackson brought the ladder in. And then obviously at this point we had the really cool ladder match where Luchasaurus basically went nuts. I think he threw, he slammed Cole onto the ladder. Horrible spot. Then we had a bit where, was it Luchasaurus put Nick Jackson and chokeslammed him on the ladder, as well as a really awesome looking moonsault on Matt, on both of them. I think Adam Cole on the outside. But then was broken up by Matt with a trash can, because everyone loves a good trash can. Then we get fighting on the ramp. That's pretty much where most of the match ended here. We had Adam Cole hit a Powerhouse Sunrise on Jungle Boy off, I think, like the scaffolding. Freaking dangerous, but really awesome. We had that kind of stuff as well. Luchasaurus made the save. We had a bit with, all three heels delivering super kicks on Luchasaurus. Then we had a triple super kick on Christian Cage. He's out. And then Cole had thumbtacks, knee pads. They're very creative, these Young Bucks. No surprise there. Knee pads and hit a triple BT trigger on Luchasaurus. Makes sense. The only guy that has a mask, so he's protected. Makes total sense. But then obviously we got, but there was just get the pin, but Jungle Boy was able to break up the pin. So the match kind of ended with some spectacular stuff. Yeah, Jungle Boy hit a German suplex on Nick Jackson. We had Christian Cage hitting a spear on Matt Jackson. We had Luchasaurus give a chokeslam on Adam Cole onto the stage. Off the stage onto Nick, Cutler and Nakazawa. We had Luchasaurus do a standing shooting stars press off the ramp on all three of the guys at the floor. I mean, that guy's crazy. It's just crazy. It's an amazing spot. I loved it. Then we obviously, after that, Jungle Boy had a shock look on his face, like, okay, that's weird. But then obviously near the end, I think it was only who was left. Matt Jackson was the only one left in the ring. On the stage. And obviously Christian set up again, got two chairs, set up the concerto, yet again gave Jungle Boy the chair to do the final blow. And he did this time with a nice concerto on the back of the head of Matt Jackson. And Jungle Boy gets the pin, gets the win for his team. And Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express are the winners of this match that I put the other side with the Superkliq. Just because I thought, well, okay, they kind of got his comeuppance that got the revenge last week, so didn't he need to win the match? But I think I like that they did lose here, because I think for the longer narrative of the kind of story that, the Elite is basically losing, like they're literally falling apart. They've lost everything now, lost the match, and obviously lost the world title. It's setting up something that I'm really looking forward to seeing where they're going to go. Something different. So, but yeah, it was an action-packed, as you expect from most Young Buck matches that are involved in. Again, a lot of stuff to cover. I don't think I covered all of it. I probably missed something, but yeah, it's fun. I usually love these kind of car crash kind of matches where it's just like weapons and you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. That's pretty much Young Bucks have now down to a T at this point. So awesome stuff. I like it. So yeah, again, that's what 4 or 5 matches in already. So many matches. But yeah, cool stuff. I think they're really pushing Jungle Boy as his really legit kind of star. I can't wait to see what they do with him next. I'm liking Chris. I do think Christian's turning on him to help him start a feud there, because there was some kind of moments where, that kind of stuff. And Luchasaurus is kind of, again, proving in this match that, yeah, the guy, he's awesome too. So, but it'd be interesting to see what they do on Dynamite this week. So, yeah, awesome match. I think it's really fun. It was the kind of matches you don't expect them too seriously. They basically killed it. Give them 20 minutes just to go crazy and do some crazy shit. And they did in this match. So, awesome match here. I look forward. I just hope Jungle Boy... I actually would love to see another match between Adam Cole and Jungle Boy. Just because, why not? Or Adam Cole versus Christian Cage. That probably already happened. It means I'd have to pay attention. But yeah, awesome stuff here. I look forward to seeing where they go from it. So, yeah. Yeah, great. 4 or 5 matches into the pay-per-view. Great stuff here. So, next match we have is obviously a tag team match with Cody teaming up with Pac in an unholy alliance, facing off against Malakai Black and Andrade. I can't pronounce the second bit, so I'm not going to try. But obviously in this match it was kind of set up because obviously Cody's going against Malakai Black. There's a feud, and Pac's going against Andrade. So the usual stuff. This is kind of match that would be on a kind of Dynamite kind of match. It doesn't feel like a match that would be a pay-per-view. It's not a pay-per-view, because obviously it is, but it just felt like it didn't need to be on. I don't think it needed to be on this. I think this could have been a cool match to have on maybe like this week's, Dynamite, just because it just would work. But it's fine. I mean, it was good for what it was. I mean, it wasn't 15 minutes, so they gave it a little less time than the other matches, so made sense, obviously. But yeah. But yeah, obviously we'll talk about the match in general. First off, we've got to notice that I always laugh that I think we're getting duped here, is that Cody Rhodes, when he came out, was booed out of the building. Literally was so many booing. But I honestly think it's, they did kind of bring it up in commentary, when it's like, could it be because he's gone Hollywood? It's like, well, the opportunity, trying to defend it. No surprise there. But I think I watched a video online that kind of explained that maybe we're being duped here. I think they want us to hate Cody, so eventually he turns. But is it pure coincidence that he keeps coming out in Homelander from The Boys on Amazon Prime? Definitely check that show out. It's very good. But yeah, it's like he thinks he's a hero of his own story, so maybe it's a situation where he's kind of, and he's trying to, he likes the fans. He likes people loving him. But when they turn on him, he loses it. Season 2 definitely brings up, even I think there's one point when they all turn on him, he kind of, spoilers for season 2 by the way, where he basically uses his vision, was it beam vision, let's go for that. God, for a guy who watched the show, I'm terrible. Used it to wipe out the entire, the kind of crowd. But obviously that was in a dream, but it's like he's cracking, so maybe that's the story to go on here with Cody, where we all turn on him and eventually he loses it and he goes crazy and turns heel, a proper on the nose turn heel. If this is the way, again, AEW, yes, all I'm saying, I think they're playing us a little bit with this Cody getting booed. It's not WWE kind of booing. I truly believe they want us to boo him, but they want Cody to break because of it, I think. I might be wrong, or maybe it's just legit, just Cody, we're fed up here. But I think they're smarter than that, I think, AEW. I think, Mr. WWE, what's wrong with me? Anyway, but yes, obviously, we had that at the beginning of it. Because of this, we also had a lot of back and forth, quick tags from Pac and Cody. Kind of like to show that, they want to one-up each other, so you don't trust each other too much. We did have a lot of stuff when Pac came in, cheered. When Cody tagged in, everyone booed. So I do like that kind of stuff. We got some stuff with Cody battling Andrade on the apron, and then was it Joss or the guy with Andrade grabs Cody's boot, so Andrade can punch him off the apron. Again, it's what happens when you got guys on the outside. He gets his comeuppance later in the match though. Then we got obviously Cody. We had later on. Cody was sent into the ropes and he was able to hit a suicide dive on. Was it Joss? And it was really cool. Then Cody hit a power slam on Andrade. Obviously, we had this bit where, obviously, again, as I said, Pac cheered when he was tagged in. And then was tagged in, obviously, and Malakai Black was the legal man when he was hitting a running elbow. We got a Cody cutter, really cool move by Cody. But then obviously Pac got tagged in again. A lot of bit back and forth tagging in this match. But then obviously, just when Cody came in, we got a nice, Black Mass to Cody. He's out for most of the match. As I was saying, Josh, I think it's the stooge on the outside, got his comeuppance with Arn Anderson, punched him in the face. I wouldn't say a loaded gun motion, probably not a good thing to go against Arn, because, that thing he said a couple of weeks ago. So he's up in the ramp, so they're out of the match. Then we get, obviously, the heels are in control at this point, but they're starting to have problems as well. We got, this kind of proves that both sides are not really clicking as much as we would like. Obviously after that we got some really cool, Andrade trying to figure 4 leg lock, but Cody was able to fight out of it and kind of reverse it to hit his own. Then obviously Pat again tagged himself in to hit a black arrow, kind of 450 splash from the top, but just got a near 2 with Andrade. Obviously at this point we're near the end of the match now. Obviously Black was the legal man. You got Pac sent him out on the outside, but Pac went to hit a twisted dive over the top. So, but Pac kind of pulled Cody in the way, so we've done it on Cody. I like that. I like using that kind of miscommunication that might be teased that they might turn on each other. Wasn't to be, of course. And then Pac kind of, was it by accident? Obviously been in, Malakai Black, got used to that as well, booted Cody into the crowd and he was out for most of the match. So the final two in the ring was Andrade and Pac were legal men. Obviously then, the end of the match we had, Pac hit a Poison Rhino on Andrade, and then Pac went to top, hit another Black Arrow Splash 450 from the top rope, gets the win, 1, 2, 3. So Pac, I think that's 2 wins now he gets over Andrade. So we're going to have, I don't know if this is going to be a rubber match soon. So that'd be fun. But yeah, I think it was a fun match, a good match, but I feel like the story was lacking a little bit. I think it's a match that didn't have to be on the card, really. That I still think it's a great show. Oh, so good. But like a 4-hour show, you can kind of see what matches they could have trimmed. Because 4-hour shows, as much as how good wrestling, you can't watch 4 hours. I struggle to watch most, like, couple of hours of wrestling. It's cool, but you can only watch so much of it. You can't watch it all the time. So 4 hours, I mean, good God, it's a lot of wrestling. But yeah, this could have been trimmed. But again, as a match itself, cool. We had some. I still think the Cody things were all being worked here. They want us to boo him. It's not a thing that we're being manipulated into booing him. That kind of stuff. So, but good stuff. Obviously, after the match, we had Cash Wilder and Tony Blanchard came out to attack Pac and Cody, because they all just basically, the heels beat the crap out of the faces that won. They get their heat back a little bit, and then that's the end of they skipped it very quickly. But yeah, it was fun to watch. It was fine, but I just don't think it needed to be on the show. So, but I'm intrigued to see. I hope this Cody thing is true. What I'm thinking of what they're going to do. Pac probably going to still go up against Andrade or maybe against Malakai Black. That again would be a cool match to watch. But we just have to wait and see, basically. But yeah, so good match. I don't think it needed to be on the show, but that's just a personal opinion. Anyway, but let's dive straight back into talking about AEW Full Gear 2021. As we said before the break, we're obviously going to now talk about the AEW Women's World Championship match with Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D, going against, I think, the number 1 ranked woman on the roster, Entire Conti. Yeah, I think it's one of these feuds that, again, I don't know. I think Entire Conti hit their push really well, really nicely, I have to admit. The way they pushed her in that promo package was very good. The build-up is very lethal competitor, and kind of Britt Baker's going as kind of the underdog, because I think Entire Conti has been on a good run as of late. But yeah, I mean, I think this match was kind of more catered towards the more like another threat to her title. We've got to take this seriously, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, again, the women's division is a strange one as well, because it's at the moment it's still. I get people like, well, they should have had a big star by now, and I get that. But I think the first real star they've actually built after this is Britt Baker. So they've got to try and build everybody else up. Conti has got momentum that I think they could. She did look great in this match, by the way. So it's like, if anyone's going to make her look great, it's the champ, because Britt Baker is the best wrestler they've got. Up there, maybe Thunder Rosa. So I wanted them to go against each other. Probably the best feud they've had in their division so far as a company. I don't think that's a controversial statement. But yeah, it's like, I think whoever's taken it off is probably going to be Thunder Rosa. So at the moment, it's like you don't see Britt Baker losing the title. But just because you had that kind of feeling going in doesn't mean that this match wasn't like it's going to be a spectacularly good match. Because I think it was. It was good in that sense. It was a very, very good match in the sense that had all the spots you expect. I do think the crowd was a bit down for it, but I don't think it's because of the match in general. I just think they're kind of worn out by watching so much wrestling that's been high paced, boom, 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 that like, when he got to this match, it's like, I need to relax, and I don't want to use toilet break match because that's really disrespectful. I just think they're all knackered by this point. This problem with long shows, it happens. But yeah, again, this match still had some cool moments in it. I mean, we obviously at the beginning, we had, I think, just because the other Fozzy guitarist, I don't know his name on top of my head, was it playing Britt Baker's kind of theme on the way down, was pretty awesome. Obviously, Ty Conti had the whole Brazilian kind of America kind of flag with a face paint, that really cool stuff there. Again, a really heated exchange at the start of the match. We had obviously, but Britt Baker was kind of in control early, but obviously Ty Conti got back into it. We got a nice bit where Britt Baker tried to hit a twisted suplex into a neck breaker for 2. Then we had Ty Conti hit a right hand on Britt Baker's nose. Obviously, she broke earlier in the year. And then she hit a very nicely, running knee on, and she was in control at this point. But then in the match, obviously, Britt Baker got back in control. Obviously, Rebel giving her that glove to try and she puts on her right hand, trying to lock in that she uses to extend on the lockjaw. But then Conti came back with a cutter for 2. Really awesome stuff there. Then we went on the apron. And a very nasty spot where obviously back and forth, and Britt Baker was able to hit the air raid crash slam on the apron. Horrible. Must have hurt, but yeah, awesome stuff there. Then obviously Ty Conti came back into it and hit a Thai KO. Was it basically a really awesome knee lift kind of move? One of the finishes, really awesome for a quick 2 count. Then we got Britt Baker came back with a Superkliq. And then Ty Conti hit a pump kick. And then we got Ty Conti also hit a gory style pile driver. That, again, I always hate pile drivers because they always can go wrong in so many ways. But obviously just for the 2. Then we got Jamie Hayter came in, kind of pushing Ty Conti out of the ring, while Weber distracts the ref. And Hayter throws Ty Conti into the steel steps. Referees are easy to distract, apparently. Then we obviously got Britt Baker hit a curve stomp on the back of Ty Conti's head onto the steel steps. Nasty one. Brought it back into ring, hit another curve stomp for a 2 count. Then near the end of the match, we just got Britt Baker looking at applying the lockjaw submission, but Ty Conti was able to get to the ropes. And then we got Baker went to hit for another stomp on the apron. Went for another stomp on the apron, but Conti avoided it. And was able to kick. Conti was able to kick. Then was able to kick her outside the ring, and then Conti went up to the top and hit Hayter and Rebel to get them out of the match with a moonsault that didn't look as great as it could have been. But then obviously we got Conti came in, hit a spinning slam on Britt Baker onto the floor. Then back in the ring, she hit a DD tie for the 2. Then we got obviously Ty Conti hits a hard kick to the chest of Britt Baker. Baker was able to counter, but then she locked in the lockjaw. But Ty Conti was able to fight out of it. But Britt Baker was able to counter as well, and obviously do a cradle pin for the win, and is still your AEW World Women's Champion. Again, I probably really messed it up in some ways with describing it, but it was good. It was a good competitive match, but I just don't think it was amazing. I think that if it's one thing it did do well, it did make Ty Conti look like legit badass and a really awesome person. As an in-ring competitor, that I think in a match like this, it done its job. When you think about it, it made Ty Conti like, yeah, she's good. But you expect nothing less. I think they said Britt Baker's the best wrestler in that company, women's wrestler in that company. So she's really making everyone look good. I don't think I've seen a bad match with Britt Baker yet. So good stuff here, but I just. Again, could it have been on the card? World title's got to be on the card, of course, but I think they could have chose somebody else. But again, it's still a solid to good, decent match. So yeah, good stuff here. Get 15 minutes, let them go for it. I just think the timing and where it was placed didn't help with the crowd, that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I think it was a good match. I think Britt Baker, I think only person that's taking that title off her is Thunder Rosa, but then Thunder Rosa might win the TBS kind of championship. I don't think she needs to. I think Thunder Rosa is the next shout to winning that title off her. Probably, I don't know, probably going to have it for a couple more months. Probably at Revolution she might win it, or maybe at, again, Double or Nothing, I don't know. But it's going to be sometime next year she's using that title. It's going to have a long reign. Like, that's what they normally do. So, but good stuff here. I think it's awesome. You know, it was fine. And yeah, I look forward to more women's matches during the TBS kind of championship tournament. I haven't watched. I should watch more, but I think it's because I watched Dynamite and they put a lot of them on Rampage. So, but obviously when we get to the final, it should be a really awesome affair because last time they did, it was a really good match. So I look forward to see what they do. But yeah, Britt Baker still your AEW World Women's Champion. So yes, next we go into a match that was kind of set up basically by one interruption for a promo on the backstage and a really intense promo 2 weeks later. Obviously, we're talking about CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. You could sit there and say this is CM Punk's first big feud. He's had a lot of like mini feuds. Maybe Darby Allin was a bit of a, get him started feud, but he didn't have. Could be big. We've been cramming for like a big meaty feud for CM Punk to get into, but yeah, this all kind of started out with was it CM Punk being interrupted by Eddie Kingston after I think he's lost to Bryan Danielson. Punk didn't like that. Obviously, he brought it up on on the Dynamite the week later. But then also we had the thing with obviously that amazing promo back and forth. The intensity of it on that Rampage was unbelievably good, and I would definitely suggest checking out the promo. This feud is a perfect example of how a feud could become so cool just by one promo. Just one promo. All it took was CM Punk calling out Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston reacting to it, and then calling him a bum and a guy that's not lived up to his potential. To start a feud that just got really intense, and my God, the match was basically that. By the way, you knew it was serious when CM Punk came out. When CM Punk didn't march down, didn't do all these signature kind of "it's clobbering time" type stuff. It was just like came down. He meant business. But without CM Punk even knowing, so did Eddie Kingston, because they were both facing off even before the bell rang. And Eddie Kingston, without warning, done a spinning back fist to the back of the neck of CM Punk, and he was selling it. He was out for the count before the match even started. Eddie Kingston is pissed. He's here to hurt CM Punk. So the bell rang after this point. Off CM Punk was able to get back up. Most of the match was a brawl between these two. You had a bit when they were on the apron, and obviously Punk kicked Kingston and then done a running kick. A lot of the crowd were kind of mixed between this. Very mixed. Like they actually were booing CM Punk at some point, because I think they really understood where Eddie Kingston came from. Very heelish, kind of what CM Punk was saying. But then we obviously had a Punk slam. Was it Kingston's head? Was it hand into the steel steps? Then obviously when we got back, we went into. Was it Punk went after Eddie Kingston on the floor, and then Eddie shoved Punk into the ring post. And the first time in a very long time that CM Punk was busted up. So, and it's this kind of fueled CM Punk at this point. I think it's been a long time since he's kind of done a blade job. So maybe this is another thing to tick off list to do again. We did have a cool thing where, I don't know if it was a homage to John Cena doing a 5 knuckle shuffle, the shoulder tackle, that put his hands up in the air. But instead of doing the last move, he put the middle finger up to Eddie Kingston, and they both nice exchanges back and forth between those two. Obviously, we got another Eddie Guerrero tribute with CM Punk doing the Three Amigos suplexes on Kingston. Even got a nice little Eddie shake as well. A lot of homages to him. Okay, saying it again. God, we miss you, Eddie. God, what would wrestling be like if you were still around? My God, probably a lot better. But then we obviously had a bit. Was it Eddie Kingston? Obviously, went for the go to sleep taunt to try and really mess. A hand gesture trying to mess with CM Punk. But this didn't go well, because CM Punk was able to lift Eddie Kingston, hit a go to sleep, but because of how tired they both were, because of how intense the match had started, he went outside the ring through the ropes. Then we obviously got near the end. We got Eddie goes for a back fist, but then both men hit each other and they both go down. Then CM Punk gets back into it, hits some MMA strikes with knees in the midsection, that stuff. Picks up Eddie Kingston, hits another go to sleep on Eddie Kingston, gets the win in a very short, only 10 minutes. But what an intense 10 minutes it was. Oh, so good here. I think it's like they've just... CM Punk's always had a strange start. Like, he's had different types of matches since he's come back. A lot of people have been on, like, has he been overwhelming so far? It's like, if you're expecting to go right out the gate, he's not that Bryan Danielson. It's like he's been wrestling continuously for like these couple of years. CM Punk, I think I like the story of like he's building himself up again. He's been out for 7 years. He's an old guy. He needs to keep going. So, but yeah, I think this feud is not over. Obviously, forget about the end of the match. CM Punk will put his hand out to shake because Eddie Kingston kind of shows respect for Eddie Kingston, but he didn't even dare look at it and jump that went outside the ring. I think this feud is not over. I think it's got more legs to it. I hope so. But it shows that CM Punk, maybe it's a good bridger feud to really get back into the kind of meat of what we kind of were expecting from CM Punk is the big feuds, like the MGFs, the Adam Coles, or the Kenny Omegas, them kind of feuds. They were like, yeah, we want to see those matches. And I can't wait for that. But I think what I like about it, just gave it 10 minutes, didn't go overstay its welcome. We felt, okay, it's going to be tense, just go for it. To give them 10 minutes, just go for it. And it was great. The crowd were totally out for this one. I mean, again, they were mixed as well, as I said. Like, they booed CM Punk, so they really like Eddie Kingston. Really shows we can all relate to Eddie Kingston as a character, a guy that's always trying his best to get, but always being put down because of who he is, and that. A lot of people can respect to that. I think that's the story anyway. But yeah, good stuff here. I don't think this feud is over. I wouldn't surprise if there's going to be a intense kind of rematch, probably by the end of the year. I don't know what it'd be. I mean, you could say street fight, a cage match, think of anything. There's probably going to be a street fight at some point. Maybe the feud will go by the basic of CM Punk wrestling, that's my world. Maybe, and then was it Eddie King say, oh, you think you come from tough streets? What about we fight in my world, street fight? Maybe. But I think this is his first big feud for CM Punk, and I look forward to seeing where it goes. But yeah, for a feud that was only set up by one intense promo, very good, very good. So, wonder what they could do if they got a bit more time. It's very exciting, so I can't wait. So, awesome stuff here. If you've got 10 minutes of your time, definitely check this match out. Definitely up there with one of the matches of the night. Be interesting to see what it might shift through the entire night. Reviewing this, I mean, what my match of the night is so far, but I won't go into that too. My final thoughts. But yeah, great match here. Good stuff. Check it out. And yeah, CM Punk is still undefeated in AEW, so interesting to see if that record finally comes to an end sooner rather than later. Maybe Eddie Kingston's the one that's going to do it. We hope so, because that'd be a huge win for him. So yeah, we're almost there. 2 more matches to talk about. First, we've got to talk about the street fight match between the Inner Circle and the Men of the Year and American Top Team. Just to point out, I can't pronounce the first name or the state. I apologise. Before recording this, I really tried my best, but I really can't get it to sound without me sound like an idiot. So I apologise for the state I can't pronounce. I apologise. I just have to put it out there. Dyslexia gets in the way sometimes. Sometimes I can sort it out, sometimes I can't. But it's cool. But I was going to call it a street fight, so that's basically what it was. But yeah, so obviously a match that's kind of been set up basically because Dan Lambert's been talking the cliche crap about how this kind of wrestling is not wrestling, his kind of wrestling is wrestling, old school wrestling. Basically, he's the Jim Cornette of this feud. Because it's what Jim Cornette talks about all the time. This is not wrestling. My wrestling's the best wrestling. This is rubbish wrestling. It's a flawed argument, personally, because wrestling can be all kinds of things. But that's what Dan Lambert's role has been played. So he's been coming out and obviously teamed up with the Men of the Year that I think didn't need it, but at least they're getting a prominent position, I guess. Maybe. But yeah, and obviously you've got obviously the American Top Team that apparently, from what they've been saying, has produced some of the most world champions in MMA or UFC that ever been around. That's would love, I guess so. I don't know. Might be a thing. I don't watch MMA. I probably should, but I don't. So, but yeah, this match was kind of not like a look forward to match. But with the street fight element in it, you kind of knew it was going to be kind of fun because, it's a street fight. There always, unless it's like really bad, there's a good chance there's always going to be some cool spots in it. But basically, the whole feud was into the match anyway. It's more like, it's Dan Lambert now he's in the match. Is he going to finally get his comeuppance for all the bad stuff he said about wrestling, about the Inner Circle? Is Chris Jericho going to powerbomb him through a table? Is he going to make him tap? And with the American Top Team and Men of the Year, the opposite. They're going to make Chris Jericho. It's going to be pinned by Dan Lambert. So it had that in it, but it wasn't exactly that top of the card. Like, oh my god, I really want to watch this. But Inner Circle stuff, they're pretty over at the moment. So street fight, it'll be interesting to see with Santos and. I can't remember the other name again. Apologise for butchering names here. This is why I need Josh. He's my backup. Without him, I can't pronounce things. This is why it works so well, our dynamic. But anyway, yeah, it was kind of the thing going into it, really. But yeah, start of the match, it was kind of like a standard tag team match. So it was like, okay, It's a street fight. There's no real rules other than the pinfall, submission. Why are we doing this? But that's fine. We got with Julius Santos, did like a vertical suplex and a standing moonsault. That's like, this guy, that's like, what? We're all shocked at this point. It's always cool when wrestlers, people that aren't wrestlers do stuff like that. We got, obviously after this, obviously Jericho was in at some point. Dan Lambert came in being cocky in his blue jumpsuit, looked ridiculous. Even slapping Jericho in the face that we all know is not a good idea. And then obviously Jericho got back into it, shoved Lambert into the ropes, and that led to the whole team, the whole match just breaking down, and all 10 men were just fighting. And then we just have a brawl outside the ring. All kinds of weapons. You had all kinds of the famous steak that I can't pronounce. All the stuff that they invented. You had a hockey stick, you had a toaster, you had a wok, or some sort of baking dish. They knew way more about it than I did. That kind of stuff. We had even a Prince sign. I guess I think that's a Prince. I don't know much about Prince. I know who he is and that, but terrible musical guy. Don't know much. What can I say? I'm a terrible human being. You know, sign it can, you know, that uses the weapon, that kind of stuff. We had Jake Hager have hit someone with a toaster. Of all the things, a freaking toaster. It's freaking hilarious. We had it was a hockey stick by Ethan Page, all that kind of stuff. Then obviously later on in the match we had obviously Santana Ortiz and Sky and Ethan Page fighting in the ring. We got a cool little segment, a bit where the trash can was over Ethan Page, I think, and basically they kicked the crap out of that trash can. And obviously got hockey stick at one point, slammed it onto through the trash can. Love that stuff. It's always funny. Then we got another one of these weird double, triple submission moves. We have Santana Ortiz applying two submission moves on Sky and Page again. Can't really describe it very well, but it's like, it looks strange. Then obviously Sammy Guevara came in with American football, and with Sky that was on top of this kind of trifecta of submissionness, if that's the word. Then obviously throwed the ball straight at the ribs of Scorpio Sky. That would have hurt. That sucks. And then it's basically a crazy street fight at this point. It's just crazy. Then you've got Santana went up top and with Ortiz, and we got a nice little double suplex on Santos from the top. That was really cool. We got Sammy Guevara kind of embracing his inner Jeff Hardy by getting a 15-foot high ladder, putting I think Ethan Page or Sky onto the table below another table. A lot of table match bumps here. Goes to the top and just done a, Jeff Hardy kind of just effortless swanton bomb off the senton bomb or whatever off the top. Very good, flawless, awesome stuff. Sammy Guevara was just amazing. We got a bit later on where we got Ethan Page done an Eagle's Edge on Ortiz on the floor. Awesome. Then obviously, I don't know why people think this is a good idea. Heels who just don't know, just don't antagonate somebody else's wife that's on the side of in the crowd. Obviously, we got Ethan Page tried that with Jake Hager's wife. Did not enjoy that. And obviously we had I cannot pronounce his name. The guy with Baron, that's it. Can't pronounce the last name, but Baron, the famous 5, the Iron Claw. And gotta love it. They brought it up before the match, but Ethan Page gets in the claw and he sold it like a champ. You love stuff like that, little things like that, get them involved. And then obviously we had a situation after that, and then we got Santana sent Ethan Page over the barricade, and then Santana jumped off a security guy and flipped onto the crowd. He asked the security guy, "Can you just stand there?" Gotta love how nice the security guards are in AEW, willing to help out in any way other than actually stop someone from getting in the ring. The actual job. I'm joking. Anyway, after this, but then we get to the end of the match where basically it was a quick chaos, everyone's shoot, everyone's pretty much done at this point. And then we've got Dan Lambert back in the ring celebrating, and then you can see in the corner of the camera, Jericho's there, and you're like, I see. And then all of a sudden he hits him with some chops, but when we had Jericho trying to go for a lion salt, but it was caught out by Santos. It was a bit slow, but then obviously Jericho was able to get back, punch him, knock him out. But obviously that distraction get Lambert trying to get cover for 2. Lambert trying to hit the walls Jericho like he did last week. the ultimate humiliation, but Jericho was able to get a kendo stick, smack him straight in the face. The Santos tried to get back in, hit him with the kendo stick. Then Jericho had a stapler because, why not? But let's be honest, he stapled it in the worst place ever. Stapled Dan Lambert's balls. Poor guy. I know he's a dick, but no one should ever be stapled in the balls. It's just not cool, man. Just not cool. So he's in pain. Jericho clotheslines him. Another tribute to Eddie, doing the Eddie shake done for Eddie Guerrero. Then he went. Makes sense because obviously they really were tight. If you watch the documentaries, they really were tight. But Jericho goes to the top, hits a very good frog splash, and gets the win that way. And yes, no surprise to anyone, Lambert gets his comeuppance, and Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle win this match. And I think it was. I don't know. I didn't have an investment as much, but it was fun enough. I think the Young Bucks match was way better, but that's because Young Bucks, yeah. But I think for what it was, basically the story was that Lambert gets his comeuppance. It done its job. I think it was a bit longer, 19 minutes. They could have put that down and put it on other matches maybe, but it was fun. I think a nice little crazy, get us all pumped before we get to the main event. That, let's be honest, I was kind of waiting for. But yeah, good stuff. Jericho, I don't know what he'll do next. I think this feud is over. I don't know where he's going to go, but Jericho seems to be doing some cool stuff recently, so be interested to see what he does next. And I hope the American Top Team is no more, because it's fun, but Dan Lambert is it's good for one feud, but let's hope he doesn't come back anytime soon. No offense to the guy, but it can only take so much for that guy. But he done what he's told to do. He got everyone pissed off enough that he wants someone to beat the crap out of him. Jericho was kind to oblige. And so the Inner Circle with a victory. That's pretty awesome. And it's going to be awesome to see what happens next. But before we get to the main event, of course, one member of the Inner Circle, the only one that has championship, Sam McRae, looks like he has an opponent for this week on Dynamite, with a person that did, to a lot of people, come out of nowhere. Obviously, I'm talking about the special announcement by Tony Schiavone of the Jay Lethal is All Elite. Came out of complete nowhere. We kind of knew at this point, because obviously we saw it came out a couple of weeks ago, that Ring of Honor, after their next pay-per-view, I think next month, Dishonor. No, that's the thing I'm doing with mate Kyle. The next pay-per-view, that means that AEW Ring of Honor are going to go on a hiatus and come back around about late 2022. Figure out what they're going to do next. It's a sad case because we all like Ring of Honor. But they've released all their people from their contracts. So that means anyone on the roster can go anywhere. So it seems like the Forbidden Door has finally been opened, as you said. And Jay Lethal is All Elite, that I've wanted for a long time. We all know if Jay Lethal wasn't loyal to Ring of Honor, he would have definitely been early in AEW right from the get-go. This guy's amazing. He's underrated. People cannot rate Jay Lethal enough. It's so good. And I can't wait to see him go and get Sammy Guevara this week. My God, it's going to be so good. I mean, two basically similar style wrestlers going up against each other. I hope they give him a good enough time as well. But yeah, as you say, walked out. He said he's walked through the Forbidden Door. And, he's now elite. He's now wants to challenge Sammy Guevara for the TNT Championship. You got Sammy Guevara came out and basically said, "You're on." I think he's kind of pissed and shocked. Like, what are you doing, man? How dare you? After just had a match. And I look forward to the match. I would not surprise if that's the match of the week. I would not surprise me. But yeah, it was a shock. I mean, I'm not check rumours, but it was a big shock to me. So I look forward to that match on this week's Dynamite. So we're here. We're finally here. We're here to the main event of the evening. Of course, I'm talking about the AEW World Championship match with the reigning champion, Kenny, my God, Omega, going against Hangman Adam Page in a match that 12 months ago opened the show and now it closes it. In a feud that has been set up for nearly 2 years, with the struggles of Hangman Adam Page being very relevant, and it's a story that proves that people can relate to. Struggling self-confidence, I can totally relate to that, me as a person. But this is a feud that we've been waiting for so long to happen. And we almost got it. There was talk before the match of like, well, Kenny Omega wins, but like he doesn't need to keep the title any longer. And ever since they put the Hangman Tales on AEW's website, you knew who was going to win this. But great story. We're all waiting for it, and it was just I can't really describe it. We've been waiting so long for this perfect example of long-term story beats that sometimes you just got to pull the trigger, and when you do, this was the right time, and this definitely was the right time. But before we get on to talk about, obviously, the victor, let's go and dive into the match a little bit. No surprise, obviously, with the intensity of the match, of the kind of feud. Very tense opening with a lot of chops onto the chest. We had, obviously, Don Callis got involved early with a lot of, when the ref isn't looking, a lot of forearms to Hangman and Page when he's on the ropes, and obviously a lot of choking as well. Don Callis is very good at being a guy you just want someone to beat the crap out of. It's technically his job. Omega at this point was in control early. We did have a nice little tease with kind of Omega trying to do like a springboard or like maybe his own buckshot lariat, but typical heel, he changed his mind, got back into him, just went for some punches. And Hangman and Page did get back into the match with a nice little suicide dive, sent Kenny into the barricade, and went to the top and hit probably the best moonsault of the night. Very clean, he does him so good. I mean, a lot of people, one thing I've heard, like, I think Hangman and Page is overrated. Like, no, he's not. He's really good in the ring. They've really built him up as this credible star, and I do rate him. Yes, after this, we had a good back and forth between these two. Then we had a nice little fight on the apron with Kenny Omega hitting a Snapdragon suplex on the apron. Ouch, that's got to hurt. We got some V triggers by Kenny Omega, but Page was able to avoid them. And it tried to, but then and it was able to avoid the one-winged angel. And then Page was able to hit a nice German suplex. Omega hit a very, again, another power driver, a lot of them, a Tiger Driver 98, but Hangman and Page was able to get out just for two. We got a nice little avalanche blockbuster from the top by Adam Page on Kenny Omega for also a near fall too. Then we had a nice thing where they had the nice little cameras in the corner of the ring. He took them off. He was able to stage, and he did a nice little jumping off the top rope clothesline, and was able to go through the table, or the announcer's table, or wherever the announcers stand, that kind of stuff. And yeah, it was a good little segment there. It was really good there. But then obviously after they all got back into the ring, Hangman and Page was just about to set up to hit the buckshot lariat, but Kenny Omega collapsed and obviously was too far away. Then obviously Page tries to go for a knee. Then obviously Kenny Omega with a suplex attempt. Adam with some forearms and a pop-up powerbomb. And then Page went for the buckshot lariat, but sneaky heel that he is, brought Paul Turner in the way, and he got the brunt of that buckshot lariat. So the referee's out. So guess what's going to happen? Don Callis brings the AEW World title into the ring, tries to hit him from behind, but Hangman Adam Page is wise to that, and he was able to turn around and give a nice little punch to the face of Don Callis. Always nice to see. Then we get, obviously Page comes back in, and we get a dead eye on Kenny Omega was it Audrey Edwards, she runs the ring, huge pop from the crowd, gets a 1-2, no, just kicks out Kenny Omega. And then we get some V triggers and kicks by Kenny Omega, gets back into the ring. And then we get like Hangman and Page kind of saying, is this all you've got? Kind of showing that, yeah, that's nothing. Then we get then Page hits a huge clothesline. The one Kenny doing a nice flip to make it look how intense it is. Awesome stuff there. Then we get to then we enter the prompts at the end of the match. Young Bucks come out very slowly to the ring. We're expecting obviously to get involved, but obviously they're probably completely destroyed after their match they had earlier in the night. They come down to the ring slowly, and then obviously Page went for the buckshot lariat. Kenny Omega avoids it. Kenny went for the one-winged angel, but Page got out of it and hit his own one-winged angel. That was shocking because we were expecting a kick out from a one-winged angel, but it wasn't Kenny Omega's one-winged angel. So I like that. It's still technically protected. So he's on 1-2, no, just kicks out of his own move. We get a nice near fall. Then obviously after this, we get the end. Page hits a buckshot lariat to the back of the head of Kenny Omega. Then we're going to go to the apron again. Matt looks at him. Matt kind of nods at him. We should point out in the first one, Nick Jackson also kind of didn't get involved. They were just there. They just looked. The Matt Jackson one had a nice. I like that kind of nod might like they appreciate, they respect him now. So there might be maybe a story there, what's going to happen afterwards. That again, it's like AEW. There's like little nitpicks that we can notice. So he hit another one. So he hit one in the back, one buckshot lariat to the front of Kenny Omega. Gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. He's finally did it. He's finally done it. We have a new AEW World Champion in Hangman Adam Page. What a moment it was. It was so emotional. So good. So happy for him. So good. And then obviously we were sitting there. The crowd loved it. And obviously we had top of the ramp. We had Dark Order coming out celebrating. Page telling him to come to the ring. And then I think it was gave him a beer. And he's like, nope. And then we get a big hug at the end. And then, as you always expect, lifting him up. Celebration. And that's how the show ended. With Hangman Adam Page, your new world champion. And it feels so earned. And I freaking love it. It's so good. It's so good. And his next opponent is probably Bryan Danielson. It wouldn't surprise me if they try and do what they did last year. And try and do one big show before they go off for Christmas. And that's the one we're going to end this year off. I can't wait to watch that match either. But it's just a good moment. It's a perfect example of long-term storytelling, and just give us what the fans want. We knew this was going to happen. Just give them what they want. Build up something, and then pull the trigger at the right time. Will make people happy. Apparently, this is really hard concept for WWE to understand. This is why AEW, I think, feeling-wise, why I enjoy it more at the moment. I think they're killing it at the moment. Absolutely loving their stuff at the moment. Not saying they're perfect, but I always feel that their stuff is must see. I think WWE is must miss at times. Feels like I can skip it and not. But again, I don't want to sound like an AEW fanboy, but at the moment I'm just enjoying their stuff a little bit more. And stories like this are the reason why. So yeah, I would say check it out. It's an amazing moment. I don't know what more I can really say. Great stuff here. So yeah, we're at the end. My final thoughts on the show. We've got there. It was, again, a 4-hour show. I'm hoping I've got this down to a good decent level. Well, 1 hour 18 for a 4-hour show, not too bad. I think obviously it would change when I edit this, of course, but yeah, great show. I think, as I said at the start of the show, could have been chopped off some matches, but the big matches delivered. The match I was really watching the show for delivered. There were nice little surprises like the opener with Darby Allin and MJF. Wasn't surprised that to be as good as it was, so I like to be surprised like that. But yeah, good stuff. If I was going to give it a grade, I'll give it an A-. No, yeah, A-, but I think it's a bit too long. The question is, what was better, All Out or Full Gear? It's a tough question, I would say. I might put it out there, actually, on Twitter, probably later on today or tomorrow, whenever I get this out. I don't know, whenever. But yeah, I would say maybe All Out was just a bit better, just because of I think the matches are a bit more put together, and so obviously had the big shocks and returns, so it worked. But we're talking about minor details here. Both great ways to end 2021 for AEW. I mean, they're on this wave of momentum, and I'm looking forward to seeing if they can keep it going to the end of the year and to the start of next year. But yeah, I think it's a top-notch show. I still think it's an excellent show. It's great stuff, so if you have a chance, check it out. But yeah, I would say that's my end of my review. Just my thoughts. A little bit of quick final thoughts here, nothing too detailed. Obviously, it's just myself this time. Josh will be back for our Survivor Series. Hopefully no more work commitments. Fingers crossed we can get that done. We'd like to get one more. We've got 2 more pay-per-views left to do this year. And then we're going to have our big end of the year talk. And we've got some big plans for that going forward. So it should be fun. So yeah, so we'll be back for Survivor Series. I think it's this week prior to this recording. Then obviously I think NXT TakeOver. Not NXT TakeOver. NXT War Games. Just War Games. They're taking out the TakeOver stuff. So should be interesting. So we'll be back for those 2. And we'll have a lot of content. Obviously you probably prior to this con, I will post our review of Survivor Series last year as well. I'm trying to boost up our stuff, So, but if you got at the end of this video, end of this review, please like and subscribe our YouTube channel. Really appreciate it. 54. I know it's not a lot for some people, but if I can get that to get up to 60, maybe a good 70 by the end of the year would be great, but I think we're on the rise. We're starting to build something again. So I look forward to if you like that, please like and subscribe. But if YouTube's not your thing, you listen to this on Spotify or iTunes, please leave a comment. Really appreciate it. Be honest. If we're rubbish, we're bad, just let us know. But you can follow us on Twitter, the Josh and 2 Pod. You can follow us on Instagram at the Josh and 2 Wrestling Podcast. I do post on that try to post on that regularly now, so definitely check that out. Obviously, Josh and Stu Podcast at gmail.com if you want to find more about our prediction game. I'm assuming that'll be back because there'll be a hiatus from the Saudi Arabia show we did not watch. But we'll be back for Survivor Series. Hope you have an awesome week. I can't wait to watch AEW Dynamite now after watching this show. And Josh will be back. And have an awesome week. And I've been Stuart Vine, and see you guys next time. Bye.